Oh my gosh, that is the most amazing Celty costume out there. I know that's not what we're talking about, but
Great.
that is so dope. Anyway,
Awesome.
sorry, introduce.
All right, everybody. To my left, we have Barbara Goodson.
Hi, guys.
She is the voice of Nata from Fooly Cooly. Rita Repulsa from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Y'all give it up for Miss Barbara Goodson.
Hi, guys.
And to my right, we have Kari like Ferrari, Wahlgren.
I was telling him, please pronounce it right. It's Kari like Ferrari. So he actually said Kari like Ferrari Wahlgren. Right.
Otherwise known as the voice of Haruko from Fooly Cooly. All right. So we're gonna do a Q&A session, about 20, 30 minutes, and then after that, open it up for fan questions from y'all. Cool. So let's go ahead and start off. How did you each get the role for the original season 1 of Fooly Cooly?
How I got the role was I knew everyone beforehand because at that point I was doing a lot of different voices, and I was doing boy voices for companies like Harmony Gold and Saban, and it was just word of mouth. So I auditioned, and it had to be a boy that was more authentic and in the lower range. And I have a fairly good range, so I was able to do a kid that was more authentic, and boom, I got the job.
Yeah.
Well, I had, it was within the first year or year and a half that I had moved to Los Angeles from Kansas. And I saw this ad in the actor trade papers that was saying, we're casting voices for this new animated project. And I always knew I wanted to do voiceover as part of my career. I loved cartoons growing up, so I was so excited. And I went in and auditioned, and they said, hey, we really like you. We want you to come back for a callback. We're gonna send you home with this VHS tape. That's right, kids, I'm 100 years old. We're gonna send you home with this tape, and we just want you to watch it. You're not gonna understand anything because it's all in Japanese, but we just wanna see if you can kind of capture the tone and the sound of this character. So I said, okay. I went home and I watched it, and there's this character that crashes in on this Vespa, and she's like, I'm like, I don't have any idea what's going on, but that seems to be the vibe of this character. So I went to the callback, and it went pretty well, and they said, have you had any experience dubbing anime? And I said, no, not really. But I'd be happy to learn. And so my very first job in LA was FLCL in the role of Haruko. So yeah, that was how it happened.
Yeah, I remember they said, there's a new girl in town, but she's a theater person. You do sing though, right?
I was a theater major and a voice minor in college, yeah.
Okay. And music is important too.
Yeah.
That kind of.
Absolutely.
Have you done singing for games actually?
Yeah, I've done singing in some projects. There's an old video game called Drakengard.
There you go.
And I sang the song that goes along with that video game. And I sang in the Lemony Snicket video game badly. I was directed to sing very, very badly. And I've sung on some cartoons that I've done, so.
Yeah.
So how did you each discover the voice of your character? Was it based on the VHS tape that you...
So you can't even say it.
Yeah.
Oh, well, this was the first time that we were asked to actually watch the VHS tape, because I'm from the old school, from the beginnings of when it was called cartoon dubbing. And back then, we just looked at the time code and created the character and kind of didn't even watch the Japanese dubbing. But I think it was Hikari was the president of digital manga. And they didn't like the American dubs. So they said, we want you to do more than a cold read. So listen to it and get the sense of it. And I still think they wanted it more, even the Japanese was a little bit higher pitched and not so 13-year-old losing, going into that, that range of breaking up. So I had to listen to them and then make a homogenized version where they said, yeah, that's it. You hit on it. That's the one we want to use.
Yeah, I took so many character cues from the original Japanese because going into it, like I didn't have any point of reference. I'd never done it before, so going back to the music thing, there is such a musicality for me with anime because even if you can't understand what's being said in the original Japanese, you can hear the emotion in it. And so, especially with Haruko, who is all over the place, I took a lot of cues from the Japanese actress as far as how passionate is she in this scene, how screamy is she, how, snarky is she in this little thing, okay, she's that there. Or how sincere does she sound in certain scenes. So there was a real music to it. And also, as Barbara was saying, I didn't really realize it at the time, but they took so much extra time with this dub. Usually when we go in and do anime, we have to get it done very, very quickly. And for a 6-episode show, they took so much time with FLCL because they really, really wanted to get it right. And that was definitely a benefit for me because I was learning on the job. But I think it also made the dub a lot better because we were able to just really fine-tune things about the characters and really explore tiny moments that you wouldn't have time to do in a regular anime.
That's right.
Yeah. What would you say your favorite moment from season 1 is?
Favorite moment? I mean, manga was something I'd never seen before. So just looking at it and saying, what's going on here? Just actually, I can't say it was a moment. I would say that we knew we had something different that we were working with. And I guess the first time I saw something come out of Naota's head was my favorite moment because I didn't know what that, and then I knew, and I had a 13-year-old son at the time, so it was a little weird playing a 13-year-old boy, having one, and being a woman. Wow. So I guess the first time I saw the first owie he got was the first exciting moment, favorite moment.
Man, I can't think if there's a favorite moment, but I do have a soft spot in my heart for the scene with Haruko in the bunny suit. So that was fun for me. I was like, oh, this is really fun.
All right. So what would you say the most challenging moment for season 1? You as an actor recording in the studio, what was your most challenging moment in season 1?
Well, this is a sad story. We recorded on 9/11. I had a session that day, and we were going to cancel, and they said, do you want to cancel? And I said, I don't know what to do with myself. I got to get away from the television. I don't know. What do you want to do? And they said, well, it'd be nice to get together and just hold each other. So we recorded on that day, and it was needed so that we could just touch people that cared and were going through the same thing we were going through. So, and it got us out of that for a while.
Gosh, I don't know that I can top that. Just the whole experience was very challenging, and from a learning perspective, and yeah, I was constantly afraid that I was going to get fired early on because I you know, you'd do a line, and then the Japanese clients would talk to each other in Japanese for a really long time, and you didn't know if they were saying, she's terrible, let's recast her immediately. So it was just kind of stressful to be trying to learn on the job.
That's kind of nerve-wracking.
Yeah, it was very nerve-wracking.
She was so good. I mean, there's no chance they would want to get rid of you. You were so good in that.
What is it when they say like a duck on the water, and you're like really calm on the top of the water, and then underneath your feet are going like this? That was pretty much my inner monologue.
Oh, wow. So season 1 is all about a kid, the weirdness growing up, the chaos therein. Like, what was a weird thing you used to believe as a kid? Oh.
Looking at me? You looking at me?
Yep.
You looking at me? I thought I could see through walls if I looked hard enough. I did. I was 5, and I think I scared myself because I thought I really had this strong thought that if I was lying in bed as a 5-year-old, and I was looking in my bedroom wall, and I felt like I could see waves or something, and I had the thought that if I kept looking, I could see through to the other room, and it scared me that thought was so real. And then I just like closed my eyes and ran downstairs or something, or hid on the stairs to watch everyone, because I was the baby of the family. I would sit on the stairs until my sisters were allowed, would come up and there'd be company. But on my own, that was it.
Wow. Gosh.
Thought you had superpowers.
So the weirdest thing that happened, I don't know. I'm going to share this, and then I'm going to feel really stupid for sharing it. But I think I had this dream one time as a kid that that I was sleeping in my bed, and there was this little boy who was a few years older than me that came into my window, and he said, come on, you've got to come with me. And so I remember getting out of the window, and I had this big backyard, and I remember running with him through the grass, and I could feel like the wetness of the grass, and it was dark, and we were running across this field in my backyard, and we got to the edge of the property line, and I stopped and I said, hang on, I think I have to go back just in case this isn't a dream. And he said, are you sure? And I said, yeah. So he walked me back, and we crawled back in through the window, and he tucked me in, and he left. And I woke up the next morning, and my window was open like this much.
Wow.
So I don't know exactly what that means, or if it was just like a really freaky dream, but that's probably the weirdest thing that happened to me as a kid.
Wow, and you still remember it as a strong...
Yeah, because it was so, like, I could feel the grass. Like, it's one of those dreams where the sensory memory of it was really trippy.
Well, it was either Peter Pan or Nauta.
Maybe.
Maybe it was me.
Oh my gosh.
I would
How cool
follow
would
you.
that be?
I wanted you to follow me.
All right. How did you find out about season 2? Because people have been wanting a season 2 for the longest, and there's been rumors, and these rumors have been shut down. So how did you find out about that?
I just found out when I worked on it recently. I mean, I knew that Nauta wasn't the major deal anymore because he reached puberty, How's it? But I was kind of hoping he'd show up anyway. Maybe they'd do like he never grew up kind of thing. But I've recently gotten back into it on another role, which I'm allowed to tell you is named T-A-M-I, Tommy, but I can't tell you any more about that person.
Okay.
So that's it for me. You know more because you're in it.
Well, I mean, over the years, people would always ask, is there going to be a sequel? And after about 12 or 13 years go by, I just wanted to be like, no, it's never going to happen. Let the dream die, It's just, it's not going to happen, guys. And then last year, I think it was late last year, they called me and they said, just hypothetically, if we were to do a sequel, would you come back for it? I was like, really? Yeah, of course. Like, that's gonna happen. And then sure enough, they they were like, we're going to start recording it.
Wow.
And here we are.
Wow.
Woo!
Yeah, no, cheer for that. So is it tough or intimidating reapproaching a role that's been so, so ingrained in our culture now?
Well, I'm not doing the role. But no, it wouldn't be intimidating because it's in my, you've got a wheelhouse. They're in there, they're in your computer, and you can just draw on them. So I would feel fine if maybe they make a Peter Pan version of Nauta and he's the same age.
I'm real intimidated, y'all. It's not so much that I was intimidated to do the character again, but there is such a little sense of pressure to do justice to the sequels because, the first one was so well received and was so original that I think everybody on the cast and crew felt a real sense of obligation to make it as good as it could be. Like, it's one of the coolest things because every single person that's been involved with this project really cares. And, Maki was telling us that, the creators in Japan, like everybody there is working so hard on it. And a lot of people didn't want to work on it in Japan because they were like, we can't improve on it. We don't know what we would do. So there's just been so much hard work that's been put into doing this sequel. And it was interesting because going into the studio, in some ways, it just felt like putting on a really great old pair of sweats. Like, oh yeah, this feels great. Oh, nice. Nice. And but it's still as crazy as it was. So I didn't really know what to expect during the recording process either because it was all FLCL.
I will say that Maki, when you do any role on this show, she is very particular. She hears the music of what she wants, whatever part you're playing. And so I'll go and do something, and then she'll say, well, do a little bit of a nuance here. And I remember I went, oh, yes, Maki. Yes, that's how she works. And it's more of a workout, which is nice.
Yeah.
When you're reprising a role, what line takes you right back to the character to find the correct register and find the correct personality?
Well, if I were reprising Nauta, it would be nothing ever happens here.
Kitty, kitty, meow. That takes me right there, folks. Yeah.
Oh man. So all right, if you weren't voice acting, if you weren't acting in general, what career or field of work would you try to pursue?
Just say what Richard Epcar said, a Beverly Hills gynecologist, but no, that's not true. I don't know. I know that I just looked at my autograph book from 9th grade when I graduated junior high school, and I wanted to be a writer back then. I had read To Kill a Mockingbird, and I was like, I want to write. So I might have been more into that.
I think I'd go back to school and get a master's degree. Or maybe, a law degree or something like that. Or I would do something with charity, because charity is really near and dear to my heart. So it'd be fun to be able to invest more time to some causes that I care about.
Yeah.
That's really noble. What's a common misconception people have about you?
They think I'm only 5 feet tall. I'm really 5'11". I'm magical. You just can't see how tall I really am.
Common misconception. The biggest one is mispronouncing my name. It is indeed Kari, like Ferrari. I will personally hug and thank every one of you that pronounce it right. My parents, what were they thinking? Arr, Swedish name. And then I think the other misconception just in general is that voice acting is really easy and that anybody can do it.
Oh, yeah, that
I don't
one.
know. I think the people that I've met.
Oh, you're
in this-
just the voice.
Yeah. It's just
Whoa,
talking.
I love that one.
It's just talking. And the most talented, gifted, amazing people that I have ever met creatively are voice actors. So I think a lot of people that work in our industry just don't get the credit that they deserve for how talented they are.
When the stars start to do it, they get it. You know, if they have a, name person doing a voice job, and I think it was, somebody told me Lily Tomlin was trying to do Red Fraggle for a class or something, and she said, I can't do this. Oh. And you know how talented she is, so.
Yeah. Oh. I'll ask this question. What are your top 3 films, and how do they speak to you?
Top 3.
Top 3 films.
Films?
Yeah, top 3
Top 3
favorite
films?
Yeah.
Ooh.
It can be an anime. It could be a project you've worked on.
Oh man.
That we've worked on, or
Yeah.
that we've,
No, that you.
In general, or that
yeah,
we've-
just in general.
In general.
Yeah.
as voice actors?
Yeah.
Oh, I was thinking as a fan. I'm like,
Oh,
Casino
yeah.
Royale. I love that
no,
movie.
well, as a fan, as you appreciating, film.
Can I lump all of the Harry Potter movies into just
Yeah.
like one? I
Yeah.
mean, can I be honest? It's a guilty pleasure that anytime they're on TV, I always stop and watch. And anytime I have some sort of holiday break, I like cozy up with my Cheetos and a glass of wine, and I'm like, ooh, here we go, Goblet of Fire. Like, am I the only one? Please tell me no. Thank you. That's why you're my people. Yeah, so the Harry Potter movies, Casino Royale, those are a couple.
Okay.
Oh, gosh. Miracle on 34th Street, It's a Wonderful Life. I love the Christmas movies. I love to do that, just Christmas Carol, see those during that time period. It's just like, you got to do that just to bring in that Christmas energy.
Yeah. All right. What do you believe is one of the most underappreciated elements of season 1 for Fooly Cooley?
Oh, that's a tough one.
That is a tough one.
You go.
I'm thinking, throw you under the bus. So one of the most underappreciated elements of season 1. I don't know. You guys seemed to appreciate pretty much everything. Like I'm trying to. I think the artwork was amazing. I thought the soundtrack was amazing. Years ago, I would have answered that question saying, well, it doesn't make as much sense as it could. But now, I don't see that as a flaw at all. I see that as a constantly evolving answer that comes to you as you age in life. Because even because I was rewatching the first one now, and how I experienced it now was totally different than when I watched it 6 years ago, or when I watched it 12 years ago. So yeah, I just feel like it's the Tao of FLCL.
It was a sleeper, and it grew. I mean, the fact that it has this kind of life now is that the fact that it wasn't that appreciated in the beginning as much as it is now.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Awesome. Okay. So we got about 30 minutes left. I want to open the floor up to questions from everybody. So we have 2 mics. One on the, I guess that's left, and one on the right. So if some people want to go over to this mic as well.
We have our lovely assistant waving over on the other mic.
Okay. So general ground rules, keep it PG. And one question per person, please. We have a lot of questions. Everybody's lining up now. And no personal requests, please. Awesome. And we'll start off this way. Oh, also speak into the mic because it's hard to hear.
Hello, my name is Eric. I was wondering, was there any point in the recording that you had to stop because you were dying laughing?
Yes.
Okay. Oh.
Because of the haru hara haruko, which I say that now like it's no big deal, but I think one of the first times that I had to say that, we recorded it maybe 30 times, and I could not say it. I could not say it, and I think they kept part of it for an outtake on a DVD extra, but we had to stop eventually because it's just like, I don't know. Yeah.
I guess listening to the other people that I've worked with playing their roles and just getting the giggles and saying, okay, wait, just give me a moment because that is so funny that, that Steve Kramer would play the father, I think, and there's so much good talent that was entertaining. So, they say, Barbara, get back into your character. You can't just watch it. Wanted to just watch it. So yeah, I no specific one, but listening to the other people that just entertained me and I knew, that was fun.
Cool, that's right.
Hello. Just want to thank both of you because obviously that was Fully Cooley was huge for all of us here. Thank you very much for bringing those characters to life. And then my questions for Kari. Are you wearing Guns N' Roses because I feel like a rock star after the debut last night?
I am a great lover of hair bands in general, so I have a lot of hairband t-shirts, and I do like me some Guns N' Roses. I haven't seen them in concert yet, but I plan to.
Awesome.
Thank you.
The questions for both of you. Is this good? Okay. For Kari and Barbara, is there any moment, whether in Fully Cooley or anything else you've ever worked on, like anything you've improvised that you're really proud of?
Wait,
that last part?
what was the question?
Is there anything you've ever improvised while voice acting you're really proud of?
Oh.
Anything you improvise?
For FLCL, we didn't get, at least I didn't get to improvise very much, but with the sequel, I got a little tiny bit more free space to do things a little differently. So there is a tiny bit of improv in the second and third seasons that I'm kind of proud of. I hope you guys like it.
I guess some of the screaming when he'd have to go from to keep going, you'd have to go to your own place with that length of torture that he was going through. So that was sort of an improv of torture as Nauta. There's something I've done for this show called Cloud Bread that's a little for preschoolers. That's I did Wooly the sheep and Ruiz the fox. They're 5 years old. And Ruiz says, unbelievable. And that was something I said, and they kept writing it in as his catchphrase. So it happens once in a while.
Cool, thank you.
So one of the most iconic scenes in anime, especially to me, because I have it tattooed on me, is the lit cigarette with the words "Never Knows Best" written on it. Does that have some special meaning to you guys? Do you guys think there's like, do you have a personal thing you connect that to that you think that cigarette means?
Nothing that I can say in a, group setting. Kari, you take
That
this
one, you know what? I can't say that particular image has as much personal meaning to me, although I have seen at least 2 tattoos this weekend of the cigarette with the quote on it, which kind of just blew my mind. I kind of gravitated more towards like the baseball bat imagery, but I just love the I don't know, if we have a time to talk longer, I'd be curious more what it means to you. So
Yeah.
that's very cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. When the original series debuted, closer?
Yeah. Definitely get closer to the
Really?
mic.
Okay.
Get a games.
When the original series came out, what kind of feedback did you get from friends and family who saw it, especially you, Barbara, your son?
My son was usually rolling his eyes at whatever I did. Whether it was Empress Rita, he'd say, "Why?" He was young then. He would say, "Why can't you be the Pink Ranger, Mommy?" So when I'm playing a prepubescent boy his age, he didn't want to talk to me at all. I mean, come on. And also being attracted to girls as my character, it was too weird for him. It's like, I don't want to deal with you, Mom. Wow. What you do for a living is too strange.
Wow.
You guys, my parents have still not seen FLCL. And they never will.
Oh.
It's kind of adorable. My mom is like, "Oh, so this show that you, oh, so it's an anime? And what's this character that I saw you posting about it on the Facebook, you know?" But no, it would not be their kind of show at all. So they still haven't seen it. But the craziest thing was that after I got done recording it, I remember talking to Stephanie Shea, who worked on it with us, and
Mommy.
And she said, "Oh man, the fans are really gonna like you." And I said, "We have fans?" Like, I just had no idea that this was something that people watched and that went out there in the world somewhere. So just the fact that there was any feedback coming in from people was like crazy. I remember one time she pulled up one of the very, very first interactive chats about it on the computer, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, there's like people talking about this show. Who knew?"
Wow. Thank you.
Hi, question for both of you. What's your favorite song from the original series?
Oh boy.
Riding on a Shooting Star? I mean, maybe it's, yeah. The Shooting Star one. It's,
Yeah, me too.
it's like I don't feel like there's any other answer. But the sequels, I'm here to tell you that I think that the music in the sequels is even better than the first one.
Oh.
I don't want to, like, I know girlfriend over here is going like, "What? That's sacrilege. Chase her out with a pitchfork." But I'm just telling you, it's real good. So,
Yeah, it's the same group, right?
same group,
Yeah.
Pillows, coming back.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I just want to know, because Kanti in the first season, he was like everyone's favorite robot. I want to know what you guys thought about him as like a character in the series.
Thought about him
An original character in the series. So what did you think about Conti when he first showed
I always
up?
felt kind of sorry for him. He was like just this big, dopey robot that's like, I've been meant to destroy worlds, and now I'm, doing laundry and stuff. Like, I just kind of felt for him a little bit.
Yeah. He's a kind of sad guy now. He didn't.
But he's kind of adorable,
He didn't live
too.
his dream.
No, I wish.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Hi. Sorry, I'm really nervous right now. My first question would be, what do you think was the most heartwarming moment for you two while doing the first season of Fooly Cooly? And follow-up question, when are we going to get Haru Haru to show us the learn the guitar in 1 millisecond class?
Oh, gosh. I'm actually
Those are
gonna...
two questions.
I know, right? Most heartwarming moment? That's, I gotta go back to the baseball bat scene and the whole "nothing happens till you swing the bat." I mean, that quote, I think, has just impacted me even more and more as I've gotten older. I think that there's something so touching about that, and the more you live life, it's true. It's still true. As far as the guitar, I'm going to have to get back to you on that.
I just think some moments with Mamali and Nauta, I think they were at the water or something. I don't know.
Oh, the lakeside.
What?
Oh, the lakeside. or
Yeah, the lakeside. Just some quiet moments where it wasn't so crazed, you know, they got down to some human qualities that were pretty real. I like that part.
And it's interesting because I think all of the crazy moments made those tender moments with your characters so much more powerful.
Yes.
Because they would just be like the calm in the storm
Yeah.
of everything going
And
on.
the animation was so incredible.
Yeah, I agree.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, so what inspired you guys to do voice acting for Fooly Cooley? Like, do you actually have a love for anime, or was it just a job that you decided to pick up?
Good question.
Yeah, it's a good question. Actually, you go first.
Well, I've always been somebody who mimicked. You know, when I was a kid, I would mimic my dad to make him laugh, and I made friends because I moved as a 12-year-old to a new city, and that is a terrible age to move, I have to say. And so there was a character, Mr. Magoo, and I used to Magoo, you've done it again. I made my first friend in a new town by mimicking this cartoon character. And I grew up on Mighty Mouse and Dudley Do-Right and I'll Save You Now. And when the Beatles came out, I used to do George Harrison and the little puddle. So I was always playing with my voice anyway, so it was just a natural shift. I wanted to do on-camera, I wanted to be a film actress and a theater Broadway star and all of that, but when I got down to LA from New York, I had written all this stuff with characters in mind to do a commercial tape so that I could work in it as an extra thing. And then we did the show, and I got to do Company. It was Amy, the Crazy Bride, and it was a patter song real fast, and I could sing. And from that, I met a guy who said, my friend is doing this thing called Japanese anime. Well, no, it wasn't called anime. It was just Japanese dubbing. And you're good with fast stuff, and you ought to try, do something, audition for her. And that's when I started to work in this business, and originally it was a way not to have to wait tables. But meeting the people that you end up working with in the business that I still know after like 30-something years, it was a lucky break. And I love it. I don't know, I need it as a way to express myself. If I'm not working on something in my little booth auditioning, I feel like I'm missing out.
Yeah, I always, from a really young age, wanted to do voiceover work. I drank the Disney Kool-Aid as a kid, definitely was into that. But what really kind of spurred me to want to have a career in this was Batman the Animated Series. Yeah, that one, I actually said, I want to do this for a living. I want to go and, do voices for cartoons. And I watched some anime in college. I watched Dragon Ball Z, and I watched Aeon Flux, which I really liked.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I kind of would like to see them re-air that one. Live action movie just didn't do it justice, in my opinion. But, so I watched some anime, but with FLCL, they were very secretive about it. Like when that notice came up for the audition, all it said was animation project. So did I go into it thinking, oh my gosh, I want to play Haruko so badly? No, because I didn't know what it was. It was very top secret.
Wow. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, so what's your role model within the voice acting industry? Like Mel Blanc?
Oh, wow. Yeah, he's definitely one of them. June Foray.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's another, well, she was an actress, but she's also a teeny little lady that did Rocky from Rocky and Bullwinkle.
She was Cindy Lou Who in The Grinch Who Stole Christmas. She was kind of just like an icon. She was kind of like the joke is that Mel Blanc was the male June Foray.
Yeah.
That was kind of the joke in the industry, because she was just like the female version of him and just did everything. So yeah, she
did
was
boys' voices.
won an Emmy in her 90s for voice acting. So she was a real pioneer.
She's incredible.
And I feel like there are some people in our industry right now that have really influenced me. Tom Kenny, that does the voice of SpongeBob, is so talented and just one of the coolest, most awesome people you'd ever meet. And D. Bradley Baker, he does the fish, Klaus, on American Dad, and the clones on the Clone Wars and everything. And
Corey Burton.
Yeah, Corey Burton's another one that's really great. So there's some really fine
many.
people that are role models for me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My question regarding the relevance that I found in Footy Cootie from then to today, case in point, the reference to Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Okay.
Couldn't
can
quite
you
hear you.
Closer?
Something about the Red Hot Chili Peppers?
All right, what I found is that there's a relevance from Footy Cootie when you, season 1 to today, when it was mentioned Red Hot Chili Peppers. Is there anything in your current body of work that you still found relevant when you did it that is still relevant today?
Yes! Oh my gosh, I can finally say this. This is a perfect segue. I found out, like last year or the year before that, that one of my best friends is friends with Richard Cheese. So you know how Haruko has that big speech where she's like, da-da-da-da, Rage Against the Machine, Richard Cheese! You know that speech? Like, my friend knows Richard Cheese. I'm trying to set up a lunch right now with Richard Cheese, and I'm like, my past has come full circle. I don't know if that's what you meant, but I was really excited to tell somebody that story.
Now, I can't think of how to answer that. I don't know. I have to come back to you on that one.
It is broad, so I understand.
Cool. Cool. Okay.
Hi.
Hi.
My question is, did any of you have a personal connection, or what should I say, identified with any character specifically? Like, yo, I feel this. This was a point in my life, or something like that.
The question is emotional connection to a character?
Emotional, or like I felt this way in my life before, or this is what I would do. Yeah, that's the guy. That's the move I would make.
Specifically in FLCL, or
Yeah,
just?
yeah.
Okay. I will say that for me, unless Barbara, do you want to answer first, or? I'll say for me, it's more of an overall general connection to the show, because I think when I was recording it and kind of after recording it, it didn't make sense to me. Like, it was fun and there was a lot of cool stuff happening, but I didn't really get it. And as I've gotten older, I think I start to get it more and more. And for me, I think what makes Haruko so great and what makes the show so great is that it captures that feeling of chaos and feeling out of control, and like lots of things are happening to you. And with Haruko specifically, she shows so many different parts of her personality. You know, she has a tender side, she has a sexy side, she's got a playful side. And sometimes I think in the world we feel like we should be one thing, or it's only certain parts of us are appreciated. And I love the fact that Haruko just shows everything and that's okay. So I think some of those themes and some of those character traits of Haruko in particular resonate with me a lot more now than when I first recorded it. And I took that with me, I think, into the sequels.
I would say that whether Naoto was female or male, there's something about being that age that everyone relates to that has gone past being that age. Because I think it's a tough age where there's a lot going on emotionally with your family, not looking at them like, you don't like your family, they bother you, and you don't fit in, you don't know where you belong exactly, and you're filled with all these anguished feelings and confusion, and you don't know where to put it. And then at school, you don't necessarily relate to everybody. I mean, it brought back a lot for me to do that guy. I mean, he wasn't a guy, he wasn't a boy to me, he was me at that age. And every part of your life that you've gone through is still in there, so you can draw on it as an actor.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hello? Oh, yes. Thank you. First, I would like to thank you both for being the voice actors in Fooly Cooly. That is my favorite anime, so thank you very much. But the thing that has inspired me the most about Fooly Cooly was I've learned to play bass guitar basically after watching it. So, honestly, do either one of you two know bass guitar?
Oh.
I really like bass guitar players. Maybe that's,
I'll take that one.
I don't know if that helps, but.
Yeah, that's another story. Never mind.
I actually am going to start, I have my first, I had started taking a few bass guitar lessons about 4 years ago, and then life got in the way. I had to move and all this stuff happened. So, after a few months I had to stop. But I'm starting them again. So Monday, Memorial Day, I actually have my first bass lesson again.
Oh, wow.
Don't cheer yet, guys. I'm not gonna know a chord by the end of it. But I'm excited about it.
Oh.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Something I always wanted to ask, maybe, this is kind of a different context, but often you see Japanese voice actresses, they are more of the role of, younger boys and stuff like that. Maybe, Barbara, maybe you can speak to this more, but could you tell me, more about why that is? Is it just, a vocal range thing, or?
I think so. Well, there is a higher, I don't want to sound like not necessarily every Japanese person, but a lot of the women that do the Japanese boys are in a higher range. And if they want that, they don't usually have me do it. They usually have somebody with a more bell-tone voice for the boys. And I will usually be chosen if they wanted to be more testosterone-y. I mean, I go over here as a boy, but if it's higher, forget about it.
Yeah, I think both in Japan and the U.S., it's not uncommon to have women play little boys.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it, but a big reason is because it's cheaper to hire an adult than a kid a lot of times, because the kids can only work during certain hours, and you have to have the studio teacher on hand. That was when they started casting actual children in more Western animation. That was a big deal because they had to keep recasting the little boys when they would hit puberty. So, you'd meet somebody and they'd be like, I was the 6th Diego, So I think that when they can, they cast women to do the little boy parts because it's easier to work with the adults sometimes.
That makes sense.
We'll see auditions that say they want a real kid, and then you don't go for that one.
Right.
I have a question for both of y'all. During the first episode where Naoto got hit by the Vespa. What was about the horn that grew out of him? Like, what was that about?
Say that question again?
What's up with the horn that grew out of his head? Like, what was that about? Like, was it
What
a
does
reference?
it mean to you? You gotta ask yourself that question. I mean, you should know what's on your own head.
Is it a horn or is it a portal?
Or is it a horn?
Or is it a portal?
Cool. Thank you.
Don't know.
I like answering with a non-answer.
All right. So, outside of FLCL, what would you say your favorite role is that you have done?
Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
That's always a hard one. I did love Fu in Samurai Champloo.
Okay.
Yeah. I really loved that one. And Jane is my anime crush, so I'm gonna pretend that they got together at the end and lived happily ever after.
From way back, I loved doing Doris and Vampire Hunter D. Akira. Gosh, there's so many. Mother Talzin in Clone Wars. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. There.
First, I'd like to say thank you for the great work that you guys did. It meant a lot to me personally. My question is, what does the "nothing amazing happens here" quote mean to either of you? Or both?
Well, to me, it's a kid that's just lost, and you know, his town. He doesn't relate to his town. That's what it means to me. That he's not. He feels no contact, like no being connected to someone. He's lonely, but he won't even admit that's the word. That's too emotional for him. So he's got to be pissed off about it. So that's as good as he can get to. I don't have any connection with where I'm at in life, and I feel lonely. He's pissed off about it.
If I can get existential on you for a second. I know everybody wanted to come to like a really fun panel, and I'm about to get really deep. But for me, whenever I hear that quote, it's interesting, especially because so much time has passed. Because when I was younger, I kind of kept feeling like there was a point where my life would begin. And that young time was just like this waiting room. And, well, you know, life is about to happen. And when you get older, you start to realize that life is what happens when you're waiting for life to happen.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I always kind of felt like that line was very powerful because, you know, we have so many moments in our own lives that are like, it's no big thing, you know, we have breakfast and stuff like that, but it's all of those times where nothing is really happening, where everything is happening, you know?
Yeah, boredom is a high state of being.
Hopefully that didn't like bring the room down or something. Go drink coffee with your heart today. Ugh. Go game like you mean it.
We have a question over here.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm on the spotlight today. First off, I want to say I love both of you guys. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers holds a very special place in my heart, equally as so as FLCL does. And this is a question I have for both of you, but Hardcore in particular is a voice that I found myself falling in love with as a kid. Like it, every time I heard it, I felt something, you know, right in my craw, they say in Louisiana where I'm from. You know, so my question is, how did you go about finding that voice for her? Was it a lot of trial and error, or did you just figure out from the beginning, like, this is the voice of hardcore? Like, what was it? Or equal was for that?
Yeah, well, I think part of it was the original Japanese, you know, and trying to kind of capture the music of that. But then the wonderful thing about anime is that you already have those visuals, and you've got the music, and you've got the facial expressions. And so there was, I think a lot of it was just the acting moments of what was happening on screen, you know, when she gives him that like really sincere look, and she's like, you know, you're the one I saw first, Hakun. It's just like, you gotta put a little heart into it. So yeah, I just think they painted the pictures for me with the voice.
You've got certain parameters that you've got to, you know, adhere to. You have a time code. You have to make sure whatever you're saying is in a certain amount of time. You listen to the Japanese. You get what Kari was saying about seeing the music and what the action is. And you know when you're on, and you just, I think it's a gut thing where you know where you nailed it. And then you also have your director saying, I think you may be a little too angry here, maybe this is more hurt, or this is more angry or something. And then you look at it again, and then you, as a collaborative job, you're working with someone, which helps so much. You get to it, which is a lot of fun and really rewarding. I love it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Might be it, maybe.
That's
Wow.
Wow.
Y'all have no more questions? I don't believe that.
Going twice.
If anybody wants to ask more questions, I have a panel tomorrow. Not a panel, a autograph signing, my last one, 11 to 1.
Oh yeah, and I'm signing tomorrow 11 to 12:30. And then I'm flying to Los Angeles to go home.
Me too. I think
so,
we're going together.
I know. I think we might be on the same flight. So come and see us tomorrow if you want to chat more.
All right.
We might have one more question.
No?
Maybe.
Oh,
no.
no.
All right.
Oh, okay.
This one's for Kari.
Okay.
I hate to be that guy, but I wasn't here yesterday, and I'm not going to be able to be here tomorrow. I promised a friend I'd get your autograph. Could you sign something for me after this little thing is over?
That is a personal request.
Cannot
we
say
can't
yes.
Okay. No
But
personal request.
Yeah, if you hover non-creepily somewhere, I will try.
What is the autograph? When is the autograph set?
11 to 12:30 tomorrow.
There we go. 11 to 12 tomorrow. All right. Cool.
Okay.
Cool. Well, thank you guys.
Guys, thank you
guys
so much for coming. June 2nd, the sequel
wonderful.
starts. Thank you so much for
Tune in
watching the
June 2nd.
original. And your costume's amazing. Yes, you're adorable.